is Carly, and I did a project about the jobs in the middle colony economy. People from many different places and backgrounds came to settle in the middle colonies because the land was good for farming. They came because the climate and soil were great for farming crops. In the middle colonies, it was a free market economy. This means that colonists were free to choose goods and services to buy, use, or make. Many people in the middle colonies worked as farmers. Most farmers worked long hours in the fields. Boys and men mostly worked in the fields. They planted and harvested crops. The girls and women did the housework, cooking, and sewing. Many farmers grew more than they needed to take home to their families. The climate in the middle colonies were good for farming. The amount of rain that they got made growing crops even better. Wheat, corn, and rye were the main crops. Lots of people grew wheat because there was many wheat fields stretched out across the colony. After farmers grew most of the crops, they would send them to other cities. To transport the crops, they would send them down wide rivers. Down the rivers, they would go to Philadelphia and New York. There, merchants would sell the goods. That's why Philadelphia and New York became busy trade centers. When Europeans came, they saw flat plains and rolling hills. They also saw grassy meadows and thick forests. When the land was clear, they found out that the land was better than New England for farming. The climate and soil were very useful to plant and harvest crops. Many immigrants came to the middle colonies wanting better economic opportunities so that they could buy land and start businesses. Many people found more freedom than they expected. Some settlers chose to buy land because of the free market economy. The good farming land, climate, and rich soil made farming an important job. Farming was an economic success. Many people came to the middle colonies from different backgrounds and cultures. People came because they wanted more freedom, religious practice, and they wanted a free market economy.
Report is on the middle colonies. This is about the breadbasket colonies, also known as the middle colonies. The middle colonies included New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. They call it the middle colonies because it is in the middle of the southern and New England colonies. The middle colonies had rolling plains and big open grassy meadows. I'm not here just to talk about the middle colonies. I'm also here to talk about the important people in it. First, I'll talk about King Charles II. He was, of course, a king and wanted England to control the Atlantic coast of North America. He also wanted more settlements and control the fur trade. King Charles II also wanted land rich in natural resources. King Charles could not complete this goal, though, because New Netherland was in the way. After King Charles II, I'll talk about William Penn. William is an English Quaker who founded Pennsylvania colony. He also made long-lasting peace with the Native Americans. William is also a proprietor and got the money for the land of Pennsylvania from King Charles II because he owed money to William's dad. Next, I'll talk about Peter Stuyvesant. He was sent to govern the Dutch West India Company and also expanded New Netherland to what is now New Jersey. He also gave some land from Manhattan to 40 formerly enslaved people. He also pushed through to make Delaware and wanted to fight to take New Netherland back. Finally, I will tell you about George Whitefield and Jonathan Edwards. They were ministers and gave speeches that marked changes in religious ideas. They also practiced religion differently than other people. Together, they traveled long distances to give speeches. And last, here's a little fun fact about George Whitefield. George carried a movable pulpit for when he traveled around places. There's not much to tell about the important people in the middle colonies. Here's a little summary to sum it up. The middle colonies is called the breadbasket colony and is in between the southern and New England colony. King Charles II is a king that wanted more settlements and control of the fur trade. William Penn is an English Quaker that made peace with Native Americans. Peter Stuyvesant was sent to govern the Dutch West India Company. And last, George Whitefield and Jonathan Edwards gave speeches and traveled long distances to give those speeches.
I did my report on the New England economy, and these are some of the ways they lived. They tried to grow crops, but many of them, since the long winters made it so harsh, most of them died. And so they started raising dairy cows and sheep so that they could use the milk from the cows to make cheese and dairy products.
planted on it so that no weeds came up or no rocks were in the middle of it. And they're small. The small towns that they have are usually surrounded by farmland, so it made it easier to grow crops. Now I'm going to talk about how they got imports and exports. There was a special route called the Triangle Trade Route made just for that. Some of the imports and exports were like from England to North America was manufactured goods. From North America to England was tobacco, rice, furs, and lumber. There's a lot more, and there's a lot more, and there's a lot of trading. So and then sometimes they traded for the free. Sometimes they made money by trading with the free market economic system, and then colonists liked that because they were allowed to choose which goods to make, buy, trade, or use. And they also England had a really strict trading system. The New England colonists could only trade with other colonies or England itself. And they had to make a lot of money, so many coastal towns did well in making money for good fishing in the ocean so that they could use the skins and all the parts of the fish to make something. And they also, from the free market economic system, almost all the merchants became rich from trade, and sometimes goods were sold for more than the merchants paid for the product. And so it went to someone else who was willing to pay more than what the merchants actually paid. There was a lot of bargaining. Like they said, okay, I'll give you my corn plantation for some dairy cows and sheep, or like, they were really into it. And a lot of people, colonists are free. Like colonists were free to set whatever prices they want, and they could compete in it, but they didn't have to. Sometimes they could just go to buy, and sometimes they could just go to sell or trade or whatever they did. And that is